By the time you come to the conclusion that you need to forgive yourself, you've already started the process, typically, of holding yourself accountable. You might even have gone a step further and started the process of self-flagellation, where at every opportunity, you dredge up the situation, beat yourself up over how you could have done better and how you should have shown up better and what you should have said and how you should have done things and how you should have walked away sooner. And I want to suggest that especially in those situations where harm has come to you as a result of you staying in a situation, or you've been hurt because you stayed where you knew you should have left, or you had a gut feeling that you should have left and you didn't trust it, that maybe forgiveness isn't what you need for yourself. And maybe instead what you need is gratitude and compassion for the version of yourself that felt that staying was what was good for survival and did everything in their power to survive. I truly believe that the language that we use to describe ourselves and to describe things makes us feel certain things. And oftentimes when we use the word forgiveness, when it comes to talking about people who have wronged us outside of ourselves, we use it because we are framing those people as perpetrators who we then need to forgive. And when we use that term to describe ourselves in situations, especially where we have gotten through something really difficult or survived something really difficult or endured really difficult circumstances, we run the risk of framing ourselves as perpetrators inadvertently. And I was thinking about this a lot recently because I had found myself ruminating repeatedly over certain situations that I had dealt with and experienced, where I had had a bit of a gut feeling that I needed to walk away from a space and I didn't do that. And then things came to light that told me you should have walked away when you had that gut feeling, and I had basically gaslit myself out of the things that I knew to be true on a gut instinct level. For months, I would ruminate over it, reenacting conversations in my mind, going over things over and over and over and over again, and essentially beating myself up for not being the person that I am today in those previous situations. And it was a lot. It's so emotionally draining to continuously go over the same thing in your mind. It would make me feel anxious, it would make me feel physically nauseous, and it was just so unhealthy for me. And one day I had a bit of a realization where I realized that I was probably being as judgmental of past versions of myself as other people had been of those past versions of myself, which was a shocker. I had never seen it in that light. And then I started thinking more about what that version of myself that went through those things needs in this moment. And it was compassion and gratitude. That version of me had done what she thought she needed in order to survive in that moment. And on some level, staying in that situation and continuing to show up in that space seemed safer than the idea of leaving. And so that version of me did what she needed to do to survive. This present version of me now knows more and has now walked away. And this present version of me is now armed with so much knowledge that frankly I wouldn't have gotten without that past version of me. It's important to acknowledge though that it makes sense that we would continue to blame ourselves and then subsequently see ourselves as a party that needs forgiveness and blame ourselves and see ourselves as a party that needs forgiveness in that cycle. And it makes sense that we would struggle to let go, because it's really hard to let go of things that you feel solely responsible to ensure never happen again. And so it makes sense that we would ruminate and stay on the matter, because that rumination gives us that illusion of being in control. The bottom line is that just as good people exist everywhere, so do harmful people. Just as safe spaces exist everywhere, so do harmful spaces, and so do spaces that just simply aren't aligned with us, and sometimes that misalignment can lead to a feeling of unsafety as well. And yet it's important to understand and recognize that the version of us that those things happened to is not the same version of us that exists today. We've grown, we've experienced the things, we've learned. In fact, I would say that the only reason we can look back at our past selves and be so hard on ourselves for the decisions that we didn't make, or for the ways that we think that we prolonged our own suffering, is because we know more now, and is because we intend to do different and also wish that the past version of ourselves would have done the same. So each time that you feel those self-flagellating thoughts coming up, try showing yourself compassion and grace and gratitude, frankly, this version of you knows stuff because of that version of you. As awful as the things that you might have dealt with are, and in spite of the fact that you absolutely categorically did not deserve them, you know things now because a previous version of you didn't and learnt them. And I would love to learn all of my lessons in really soft ways from now on, because frankly I've had enough. However, because those versions of ourselves learnt those things the hard way, I truly believe that it's even more important that we show that version of ourselves a certain level of softness and gratitude and compassion. They are a part of us after all. They are a part of our history. They are us. They have helped mold and shape who we are today. We might need to forgive the external parties that acted in ways or didn't act in ways, depending on the situation. But when it comes to us, we're showing ourselves compassion and we're showing ourselves gratitude. And that's it. There is no room for self-flagellation anymore. Be kind to the past versions of you also. Be kind to the present version of you as well. Even if you have been beating yourself up for not leaving, understand that that's been a habit that's built over time, and you are learning and you are growing and you are learning to do better. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been useful. I hope this helps, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.